Hey guys, what's up? It's your girl Vale, founder of Roots and Raíces and the co-founder of Suyana Technologies Inc. If you don't know me already, I run an organization, as mentioned before, called Roots and Raíces, which is dedicated to highlighting, supporting, and celebrating immigrants in Baltimore. Today I bring to you new content that hopefully brings some light and energy into your home. I'll also be posting never before seen content of Roots and Raíces Festival and events from the past 2 years. This includes all the past festivals, the galas, and also a few art markets that we've done. In today's feature segment, I'll be presenting to you a guest artist and educator, and also special friend of mine, Joyce Lynn. And as today's title is called The Balancing Act. You know, being an artist and a creative, at the same time being an educator is incredibly hard. So I'm excited to bring to you today Con Vale with Joyce Lynn, present to you now. So thank you again for being our first guest on this brand new YouTube channel. Tell me a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background, your artist practice, where you live now, and what are your interests?
So I'm originally from Chicago. I grew up in a suburb outside of Chicago called Naperville. I moved to Baltimore to attend school at MICA, and I'm currently an art teacher in Fairfax County Public Schools. And my interests, so I obviously like art, but I also love the outdoors, doing hiking, horseback riding, stuff like that. I knew that I wanted to be a teacher when I was in high school. Partially because of the art teachers that I had in high school, but I think my choice became sort of set in stone once I reached MICA, because the MAT program has some really amazing teachers, amazing professors in its program, and they made me realize the importance of art education.
Was there a specific professor that you have in mind?
I don't know. I think there's definitely 3 that stand out to me. I worked with them for internship, and they just have this ability to understand their students. Like they can just look at you, tell how you're feeling. They can read emotions so well. And I think art education is frequently something that is undervalued, and they made us realize how powerful art educators are. Our education has shifted. So when I grew up, it was a lot about mediums, exploring different materials, things like that. And now art making is a lot more based in making meaning. So the artwork that students make now should have this big idea. It should be able to tell a story.
Resonating on the topic of today of playing the balancing act of being both an artist and an educator, how challenging has it been to be both of these roles at the same time?
You're so focused on creating artwork for your students, for projects, your creative energy goes into creating these good projects for your kids, that you feel like you have very little left of creative energy for yourself. But I also think that there's nothing wrong with setting aside time to just do education things, and then maybe in the summer you can move on to art. I don't necessarily think that you have to do 2 at the same time. You can focus on one thing, and then at a different time you can work on the other.
And where do you find most motivation to produce art when you do? Is it motivation or is it more of inspiration?
I definitely think it's inspiration. And right now with social media, you can always see what people are making. Especially when I see other art teachers making things, I think that's super inspirational. You know, they're both great educators, and they're also amazing artists.
In that realm, do you feel now that we're, forced to be in virtual spaces due to COVID and with this virtual teaching, how do you think that will transform art education now that we are finding ways to teach kids online? You feel like it's limiting or maybe has expansive possibilities?
It might be both, because I've made some videos and students can watch them. They don't have to be my students because they're on YouTube. So students from, I guess, around the world could watch my videos if they really wanted to. It's not just about art making and skills. It's also about that relationship building. And I think that would be missing if we just relied on this like online learning.
Now I'm gonna pull up an image of this device. It's an iRobot, and essentially it functions as a tool for kids to learn new languages, as a tool for kids to learn different abilities. How do you feel like robots and technology, can transform education? Like, what do you think about these kind of like new inventions and toys that are meant to help supplement kids' learning?
I mean, they can be beneficial, but at some point, like kids have to learn just basic skills like empathy and compassion and like sharing, like basic things that you know how to do as an adult. Like just working with young kids has taught me that all of that stuff is learned behavior. If they don't learn that at home, they have to learn that at school. So these robots, I mean, they can supplement. I think that's the key word, is supplement, but they can't just be the instruction.
How has community helped you understand your role better as a practicing artist and as an educator?
So to me, community means like a sense of belonging. And I think just the way that my teaching practice is and the way that our art projects are created in the classroom, I think the idea is that these things are meant to bring people closer together, to get to know each other better, so that there's a stronger community in the classroom.
Art may not be a career path for many people, but everything we see in the world is art to some degree, right? Like designed or art. And leading that to my next question, in what ways do you see the arts lifting up communities post the COVID-19 era? Like, how do you think the arts can transform and lift up communities?
So after every major event, artists respond to it, like with the Dadaists and the Surrealism after the World War. So maybe after COVID, artwork will help people process and heal.
But what are some self-care practices that you've put into your daily life that you would like to adapt to your life after the COVID era?
I definitely feel like I exercise more, and I've done some Zoom exercises with my friends. So we like work out together, and it is kind of strange that now that we can't go outside anymore, like I see some of my friends more now just through using Zoom. So I feel like I've reconnected with people more. And I think that I want to keep that up. There's like no reason for me to, I don't know, stop talking to people after this is over.
Yeah, you're right. I think like now more than ever people are connecting, which is crazy, right? Like it makes you think how much of our life we live in clutter, right? Like not only are our houses in clutter, I think we just organize our life around fitting every little slot, with stuff. And it's especially hard as an educator to add on extra time for your friends or for self-care. All these things are extra, like with all the papers you need to grade or all the projects you need to look at. Like it almost seems like you're being swallowed in stuff. And to me it's kind of like, I always use the metaphor of being in a wave pool. Like you're constantly like in this wave pool of water where like when you don't jump at the right moment you just almost like drown. Like you have to like jump and consistently be at the right pace, right? And I think it's challenging. And also like I'd love to hear what message you have for perhaps someone considering becoming an art teacher, or someone, one of your students that might be interested in pursuing this career. What are some top tips or advice that you can give to them?
I think it's a very rewarding career. I'm only year 2 in, and sometimes it doesn't feel rewarding. Like when you're doing the everyday things that become mundane and they're challenging sometimes, and you feel like you're in over your head. But then you also get like these notes from kids sometimes that show that they actually appreciate and that you are impactful on with them. For example, I was doing this Zoom call with some of the teachers at my school, and one of them said that her whole fourth grade class was asking about art because that's all they wanted to know about was what was going to happen with art during this like online distance learning. And just hearing those words, I felt like so happy, you know, like I feel like art isn't as appreciated sometimes, but to those kids, like that was what they cared about. So I think that's one important thing to realize, that if you're going to go into our education, is like it's a very rewarding job. And then the other thing that I would say, like as a tip, is just you can't take it personally. I mean, there are some things that are your fault, but a lot of times when things are challenging, a lot of it just has to do with, you know, like kids are kids, they're people, there's so many things going on in their own lives, you know, like you can't take it personally.
But thank you so much, Joyce, for being on our show. It's been a true pleasure having you here. I look forward to hearing from you in the future and having you on the show again. Thank you for watching our very first episode of Con Vale. In this channel, I'll be posting weekly videos ranging from interviews of inspiring immigrant creatives, reaction videos, and more. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Stay safe and healthy, everyone. Hope to see you again.